all of you. And before we get started, it is a change that, you'll see that it's popped up that it's being recorded. So, and it's due to some changes in the Oregon public meetings law. So all of our meetings are recorded now. And then once the video is processed by the web team, it will be published on our board's webpage for public viewing. So you're invited to all of these, the raised hand option that is, I don't know if all of you are on a laptop or a computer or if anybody's on a phone, but down on the bottom of your screen, typically under participants, and at the bottom of that open screen is a raised hand feature. And I think we're a small enough group tonight that really doesn't matter. But when we get larger, just know that that option is available. And if you have something that you want to put forward while somebody else is speaking, go into either the Q&A or the chat feature and type it in, and we'll try and moderate that as we go. And I'd like to start out by just having people introduce themselves, tell who you are, which NAC you're in, if you know, and just a little bit about yourself. So I'm going to start with Alison Balbag.
Hi, everyone. My name is Alison Balbag, and I'm the chair for the Neighbors Southwest NAC. It's so great to see everyone and hope everyone's enjoying our awesome weather we've been having lately. And I will pass it over to Bonnie Chung.
Hi, I'm from the Sexton Mtn. I think that's what it's called. And I'm just a resident, just moved here, and I want to figure out what's going on.
You came to the right place. Perfect. Welcome.
Welcome, Bonnie.
And do we want to pick a name? I'll pick one. Officer Paul.
Hi, everybody. Officer Paul Fleckenstein. Obviously, I'm with the Beaverton Police Department. I'm a patrol officer there and have been for a little over, it's almost be 4 years in September. But I've been assigned to the Sexton Mtn as a representative of the police department. So happy to answer any questions and moving forward. Thanks.
Who do you choose?
Ooh, it's a good
like
question.
The Brady Bunch here.
I know, there's so many names. Let's go Mark.
Thank you. My name is Mark Hokkanen. I'm the Risk and Contract Manager with Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District. I live just north of the Sexton Mtn NAC, but am the representative and had children go through the elementary school there a number of years ago. And I'm going to pass it off to Shannon.
You're muted. You're still muted.
Can't hear you now, but let me email you the call-in numbers, and then you can use the audio from your phone to.
Oh, your mute just went away. All right, can you speak now? No. Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you the call-in numbers, and then you can use that through your phone. So, Eric, why don't you introduce yourself?
So, Eric Wuehler, I live in Neighbors Southwest, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
I have actually never been involved until just recently. I was asked because we started to a traffic calming approach for our neighborhood, hoping to slow the speeds down so that we can get out of our cul-de-sac. And so I've been here for in this house for 18 years, so a long time.
Eric, I will warn you, you get involved in a project and you may wind up as a city councilor. Okay.
I don't know, am I supposed to pick a name? Who's that? I think we've gone through everybody.
Stacy, she did say a little. Do you want to say a little more?
I'm just a resident and a parent, and I think I'd be in Sexton Mtn.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I just wanted to learn more.
How old are your
Mon-
children?
6 and 8.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, great. And I'm Sharon Dunham, and I've been the chair of the Sexton Mountain Neighborhood Neighborhood Committee back in the 90s, and I'm doing it again. And I'm on a couple of committees for the city of Beaverton. I'm a retired neonatal intensive care nurse and gratefully retired now. So, so with that, we will go ahead and start with Officer
Sharon?
Fleckenstein.
Should we, Franziska, would you like to give an intro for us?
Oh, for heaven's sakes, yes.
Yeah, no worries. My name is Franziska Rose. I'm the Public Involvement Coordinator with the City of Beaverton, and I am the staff liaison to the super lovely NAC.
So grateful that she's in the neighborhood now.
Shannon, you should be able to, if you push *9, *6, I can't remember which one it is for
It's one of
unmuting
the
your
two.
phone. But I have given, there you go. All right, we should be able to hear you now.
Okay, so I have now audio coming to me from everywhere. Sorry. So I'm the events program manager, and my computer has been on the fritz today. Earlier it didn't have video, and now apparently I don't have audio. So that's fun. But I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm going to try and sort out the echo that I get.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can mute your computer, and then you'll just hear the audio through your phone.
It's a lovely idea, and you would think that would work, but something is very wrong, and I cannot change. I can't turn off the sound, but you can't hear me.
Oh, technology. Yeah.
If you go, sorry, we'll try to troubleshoot this right now. If you click on the little up arrow next to the microphone on the Zoom interface, do you see where it says switch to phone audio? In the drop down menu, it says select a microphone, select a speaker.
Okay. Maybe it works. Other people talk.
Okay.
It
No.
didn't work.
Oh, well, we can hear you now, but
Okay, now I might have got it.
I think you got it.
awesome.
Yay.
Perfect. Okay, great. Yay.
Okay.
So let's get started with Officer Paul Fleckenstein, who's going to be talking about the police update.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So again, my name is Officer Fleckenstein. I failed to mention before, I do live in Beaverton. I live kind of in between Hart and 150, Hart and blank and Davis. So I kind of live in between both roads. So I live in Beaverton. So work, live here. Kind of wanted to, so I kind of want to start a monthly thing where I kind of talk about different programs that the police department either has or is doing, or at least was doing prior to COVID, and hopefully we'll come back kind of moving forward. Hopefully with things and people getting vaccinated, some of those things can kind of come to light. So, but specifically, I always try to touch on some of the statistics kind of surrounding our specific little area. A lot of the things I kind of touch base on are just kind of car prowlers and people kind of taking things from cars, and that seems to be kind of the theme nowadays, just people looking for that opportunity. So one of the things, just making sure to keep your car doors locked, and some other things like that. But one thing I did want to educate, if you do happen to have someone, for example, break into your car or steal a number of different items, like including your bank cards or anything like that, one thing to kind of keep note of, and what I constantly tell victims of this, is just if you have like specialty items or anything like that, or specifically like smartwatches, smartphones, or electrical or appliances or anything like that, something just to keep in mind is make sure you get serial numbers, at least just to have somewhere where that's documented, because that helps us out in our investigations later down in the long run, and actually helps us in case they try, a lot of the times they try to pawn these items at pawn shops or on OfferUp or Facebook marketplaces, and some other things like that. So that helps potentially for us to get your items back, and then make potentially if it leads to prosecution or anything like that, because these are happening frequently, unfortunately, right now. And unfortunately, I dealt with one last night, and so I'm kind of in the process of trying to kind of dig through all of the. They went to 4 stores in the Beaverton kind of central area and spent over $2,600 on their debit cards. So something just to kind of keep it in mind, kind of moving forward. But on a lighter note, kind of moving into some of the programs, I wanted to kind of touch base on, and I'll put the link in the call in here in just a second. Kind of it's called our Community Academy. I know it's not particularly applicable right now, but basically kind of moving forward once COVID kind of starts to hopefully reduce, or some of the restrictions and things like surrounding kind of getting together and things like that in the future. It's basically a free 10-week session that's kind of sponsored by the Beaverton Police Department. It's basically designed to give residents a firsthand information kind of about how our police department works, in kind of an academy type of setting. So basically the goal is to set up an environment where we can kind of work with the public, so that you guys have a better understanding of how law enforcement works. And I know regardless of where everything, it's a big hot topic right now. And the more people are kind of informed, you can kind of pick our brain. And it's also our ability to kind of meet with the public at the same time to kind of think, to hear your thoughts about kind of how some of the things are done, but then you can also kind of get an understanding of why we may do something. So like late at night, let's say a suspect runs from a car and we have to use our sirens and lights and kind of triangulate to hopefully try and find that particular suspect. It's very irritating for the public to people when people are sleeping, especially late at night, and that's typically when I work. So I completely understand the frustrations there, but this allows for the public at least to get a better understanding of why we do the things that we do, and hopefully you never have to find yourself be a victim of something, or vice versa. But it allows us to do our job, to hopefully get either not necessarily justice, but maybe compensation, or at least more of a overall sense of safety and well-being for the public in that sense. So yeah, I'll put the link in, but again, it's a 10-week program. My wife has actually gone through it, and a number of our friends who aren't subject family members that were kind of either uneasy about me entering into law enforcement, or people that just don't have a complete good understanding of it, which I completely understand with everything kind of going on in the media. And I'm not going to dive into all of it just because it's a lot to deal with. But just understand we are here for you guys, and we are here, your servants at the end of the day. So that's ultimately, I just kind of want to put that out there in case, because I know we have some new people entering into kind of the NAC and Sexton Mtn area. And if anybody's eventually watching this, to hopefully, if they want to get involved, that's certainly what we're all about. So, and then also, I also want.
Can I ask really
Oh,
quick?
go ahead.
Is there an age limit on that?
There is not. Nope. So, well, excuse me. Take it back. I know I think it depends on the age. I can find out more. Let's see. I think you at least have to be at least a teenager, at least to be able to take part in it. I think if you're younger or vice versa, it wouldn't be as applicable to you. But mainly it's for parents or friends or people that if you don't have a ton of knowledge about law enforcement or everything that's kind of going on, it's basically just kind of work through all the different elements of our job and kind of what goes into it. So I can attach that link now. Chat. Make sure it goes to everybody. Yeah, so I just put that link in there. So eventually when COVID does kind of restrictions start to go away, it's something I would certainly encourage people to kind of look into. So, but outside of that, I don't know if any new particular events or anything like that, but the following month I'll touch base on another program that the police department offers. And so, but I'm open to any questions if anybody has any more or anything like that.
Did it used to be called the Citizens Academy?
It did, yes, yeah.
Okay, in much the same way that the BCCI changed citizen to community, probably the same reasons.
Yeah. So it used to be called that until it was changed, which makes sense for why it was changed. So.
And I'm looking at some of the session information, which is community policing, criminal investigations, firearms fraud, K-9 program, patrol functions, recruiting and hiring, school resource teams, search and seizure, tactical negotiation. This is good stuff.
Yeah.
PDFR.
Yeah, it's a very thorough program, and a lot of friends of mine and family members that have gone through it got a lot out of it. I think it certainly put a lot of people's mind at ease as far as the kind of job that we're doing and the things that we take part in every single day. And it just kind of gives you a different perspective that you might not realize. So
That's wonderful. And it's on Thursday nights.
Yes, typically it's one day a week, I believe, for the 10 weeks, and they touch base on each of the kind of, obviously with the session info, they kind of touch base on different, a wide range of topics, which law enforcement day, we take on a wide variety of calls and types of things. So.
And to Eric's question, I don't see anything about age in the piece that I'm looking at. So I think I have to
It
dive
does say applicants must be 18 years or older to
Oh, it
attend
does?
and be able to attend at least 8 out of the 10 sessions.
Okay, I did not see that on this piece. Okay, wonderful. Good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? So been relatively quiet maybe for our part of town?
Yes, yeah. Typically, it's pretty quiet, at least in the south part of Beaverton. I work typically in the central area of Beaverton now, which is always kind of an uptick, just because you have more cars on the road, more people, and so yeah.
Okay. All right. Whoops. And I'm going to turn it over to Mark as I mute my phone here.
There we go. Always forget that mute button. Well, hopefully you all been enjoying the nice weather in our parks, especially now that maskless seems to be looming in the future. So summer registration, if you're not aware, is open. So the Park District is offering a large number of youth and sports camps and classes and things. So if you'd like to register, you may do so on the website, and I'll post that here in the chat shortly. The Park District is also hiring. So this, actually, I believe it's tomorrow, there is a virtual job fair. So if you have high school or college students or anybody that might be interested, it's tomorrow from 3 to 6 p.m. and you can learn about various job openings for summer camps, instructors, park maintenance, custodians, and things that we have. And if you're not able to attend, you can also just visit the website to learn more. There's a number of volunteer opportunities. We have a youth volunteer program called RISE, and this is for teenagers 14 and over interested in training to be youth leaders. The participants will have an opportunity to learn and communicate, learn leadership and communication skills, and they also can earn their school community service hours. The other one is a lot of one-day volunteer opportunities. We have things for families and individuals looking for a one-day event, such as cleaning up community gardens, doing ivy pulls in natural areas, restoration projects, and the like. Again, if you're interested, there is a volunteer page on our website where you can sign up. This Memorial Day, staff is working with the American Legion Post number 124 to support Memorial Day commemoration of Veterans Memorial Park. The event will include a photo remembrance display coordinated by the Park District as a self-guided walk through the park. Community members are invited to submit photos of lost veterans to be honored via Messenger on the Park District's Facebook and Instagram sites. The Park District also received several grants. One is through the YMCA. This grant will provide free summer camps that are 2 weeks in length for about 160 youth at the end of June. And they also received a grant from our Park Foundation, which is called the Sprint Mobile Recreation Program. So I'm not sure if there's a connection there with Sprint, the cell carrier, but it was for $116,000. And that program is focusing on our mobile recreation program for inclusive experiences all across the district. This time of the year, bird watching is superb right now. So if you want to go to some wetland sites or find natural areas on the websites, you can do a lot of bird watching, as well as spring wildflowers are starting to bloom as well. And if you'd like to join us on May 20th at 6 p.m., there is going to be a virtual community meeting to review the preliminary plans of the Beaverton Creek Trail alignment, to talk about the timeline and hearing about the project in general. And this is going to be a 1.5-mile trail segment that will connect from the nature park towards the Cedar Hills crossing area. So it's going to go east from the nature park into the Cedar Hills crossing. That's basically all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
I have to agree. I think, was it Franziska was saying it before we actually formally started, of what a fabulous gem we have in our Parks Department here. THPRD, I used to work for the Parks Department in Eugene as a program supervisor a long time ago in the 70s, and ran a youth program. And I have to tell you, THPRD is so phenomenal with all that it does in so many capacities. And by the way, if you have not voted, today is the last day you can vote, and you only have minutes. And THPRD, 3 races are a part of that, as well as the Beaverton School District and City Council. So very important to have those people in place. So thank you, Mark, for all that you do.
You're welcome.
Okay, and next, Franziska, you're up.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Mark and Officer Fleckenstein. I just have a couple of updates. So the first one is about the city manager recruitment. So the city manager recruitment is continuing on, and we just had an opportunity for community members and staff to meet the finalists for the position. There are 2 finalists for the position. A virtual event was held actually last Thursday at 6 p.m. and the recording is available on the city manager website, so beavertonoregon.gov/city manager, and I'll put that link in the chat here in just a minute. The event included remarks from each of the finalists, as well as answers to questions on various topics submitted by community members in advance. And they also had a survey to assess community preferences during the session, and then it closed shortly thereafter. Appointment by City Council is expected to occur in summer, so sometime soon here. And then the next topic is about free tax help. It's been extended due to the extension in the tax deadline. So Cash Oregon and the Metropolitan Family Services will continue to offer tax preparation and filing services through Thursday, July 15th to Beaverton residents. The IRS tax deadline was yesterday, but beginning May 27th, this assistance will continue with services offered Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. And you can call 503-966-7942 to make an appointment and learn more at cashoregon.org. And then last but not least, City Council meetings have moved to 6 p.m. So the Beaverton City Council began holding meetings at 6 p.m. instead of 6:30 p.m. while the current state of emergency is in effect, beginning with the May meetings that they've been holding. And they had a roundtable on May 4th that included discussions about council priorities, including the school resource officers program. And you can look at the recording for that and get more information about upcoming agendas at beavertonoregon.gov/city council. And that's all I have for you this month. Is there anything that anybody has any questions on?
Franziska, I have a question that came to me from somebody else about a different commission.
Sure.
The Beaverton Arts Commission had a retreat,
Mhm.
and it was recorded, as all of these are.
Mhm.
How do we access the recordings?
They get posted on the web, just like the recordings for this meeting. So the Beaverton
Like
Arts
just through-
Commission webpage. So it's under, and that recording from last Wednesday's meeting isn't up on the web yet. I'm in charge of getting the recordings processed, but it will be. But if you go to the Beaverton Arts Commission page, the beavertonoregon.gov/back, under agenda and minutes. So some pages it's front and center, like right on the page. For the back, because they have a sub page for their agendas and minutes, you click on that and then you can find it there.
Okay, so the fact that it's not posted yet is why I couldn't find it.
Yeah, yep. For last Wednesday's meeting, yeah, it can take up to a week for the web team to get that
Got it.
processed and then posted, because they take the video. So I send them the Zoom recording, and then they take that, upload that to our YouTube channel, and then embed it into the web page.
Perfect. Thank you.
You bet.
Okay. Any questions about the city update? And I want to make sure that Stacy and Bonnie, if you have questions about any of these 3 updates, which are standing updates, by the way. So each time, every once in a while, Officer Fleckenstein is unavailable, and he might be out working and busy. So, and in the past we had TBF&R. I'm not sure if that's going to happen in the future later, but that was another standing report as well. So you can look forward to these reports at the beginnings of our meetings, and ask questions anytime. Okay. So I think we are ready to move on. Eric, you're going to give us an update on the traffic calming over in Neighbor Southwest.
Yeah, so we met with the city for the second time. Last time they had come with the proposals of what is possible to do in our little stretch of the neighborhood, and the stretch we're referring to is 155th from Teal to 160th. That little stretch of road. They gave us updates on the speeds and the options that they felt were viable to calm traffic, slow traffic down, and how that would happen. And so the next steps, I guess this takes another month. There'll be another meeting which we've asked the city if they could skip. Is an open house meeting to try to get more people, but I think the people that want to be involved are all ready to vote on it now. So I think the next meeting will be all right, we've had the engineers actually go out and plot everything out and tell you exactly what they can do and where they can do it. Now we just need to send out the cards to all the neighbors and they have to vote. And there's city guidelines about who gets to vote based on where you live relative to the street. And I think there are 41 homes that will be able to vote, and you have to have 67 yes votes returned, cards returned, to then move to the next step, which would be then to go to the city council to get put on the budget, and then to get put in plan. So they felt like the soonest, assuming everything went according to plan, it would be possible that we could get, they're recommending speed cushions, which are the dot. It's like a speed hump with like separates in the middle of it to allow emergency vehicles to bypass it at speed if they need to, and not have to slow down to go over the bumps. Would be September would be the earliest, and if it gets delayed and can't, they would have to wait until next spring to do that. So I guess I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone might have, or the process of how that worked.
Eric, have they set a date for the next neighborhood meeting?
Yes, it was June. Did I put it in my calendar? I think it's on they've updated, they'll update the sign. So those signs that are in the street, they've updated them, but it is I want to say it's June 8th
Okay.
or June 9th. I don't remember if it was Tuesday or Wednesday. It's their regular meeting that got pushed 1 week because of something else that was going on. So I think it's that week.
And I'm
Okay.
actually the person that updates
Oh.
that web page. So that's really good to know. They didn't tell me that they scheduled their next meeting yet. So I appreciate that. And I'll just put the web page in the chat here. I just wanted to mention, since Sharon was asking about videos, the recording of the meeting from last week is also up on the web if you wanted to share that with anybody that you know that's interested but wasn't able to make it.
Eric, have you reached out to the 41?
Not all, no, not the 41. There is like, I live in a cul-de-sac on Falcon Court. And so there's a handful of concerned neighbors. I think last time I mentioned I'm on my third teenage driver, and just the bend in the road makes it precarious, even for me. Sometimes at least once a week, I have to slam on my brakes because someone coming around the corner a little bit too fast. But I have talked to some my neighbors in my cul-de-sac, and then over on Oriole, there's a group over there that we got together and talked about what we thought would be good. So when we do get the cards, that's going to be the tricky bit. Is I didn't send it in is a no vote.
Right. I was just going to say that.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
what we will do once we get all the cards in the they say we're going to send the cards out. We're going to go talk to all the neighbors directly and make sure, please, even if you want to say no, please send a card back.
And so are you in that 250-foot range off the 150?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. My entire cul-de-sac and a few houses. Some of the neighbors who also want it to be yes are not in that area and wanted to be included, but the city suggested, well, if you do that, then that will increase the numbers, which means you need more people to respond. So it changes the dynamic a little bit.
Right.
So they voted against it, and they said they would just help canvass the neighbors and make sure the neighbors turned their cards in with yes votes. So this next meeting in June, I believe is supposed to be the open house, but if we approve and the city is going to come with here's what we'll actually do. They came with proposal. They came with recommendations a month ago, and this last month they came with here's our proposal. We went and did the measurements and whether it's a traffic sign versus a speed hump or a speed cushion, which ones they recommended. And then this next one is, okay, now we've gone out, here's the actual plan that we'll have you vote on. Some of the requests at the meeting were also is it possible to put 3 spots in that distance or 4 spots in the distance? Because there's guidelines about you have to be 350 feet from stop signs and other there's other rules that they had to follow. So
and so I'm sorry, the recommendation was for the speed cushions, which are similar to the ones on Sorrento.
I'm not familiar with. It's not a speed hump that goes all the way across. It's the divots in the middle. Yeah. It's a speed hump with divots in the middle for emergency vehicles to pass through without going over the bump.
Okay. In our Sexton Mtn neighborhood, we had a successful traffic calming, and it was not speed bumps. It was not speed cushions. It was the little planter strips in the middle with signage, electronic signage going both ways. So, and I think some people were kind of surprised by that, but it seems to slow it down somewhat to that 30 mile an hour.
Yeah, the city came back and recommended speed humps, speed cushions, or the signage. But because of the bend in the road and whatever the other requirements were, they weren't able to support any of the bump outs or the curbing features.
Okay.
Bonnie, did you have a question?
I did. So I filed a complaint for Diamond View Way because we're on a real steep hill. It's so steep, the neighbors say they don't put sand on it during the ice because it's so steep. And okay, sometimes it's pretty calm, you know, the older folks drive slow, but then we get some of these younger people who like to make that turn on Red Rock and 166 and then just kind of like plow their way down, because I guess it's kind of fun if you're not standing in the middle of the road, but for them, you know, they go kind of fast. So I put in a complaint, I think just the other week. What kind of timeline would I expect a response? What kind of, how soon might I expect a response if you might even consider it?
Who did you turn it into?
I don't know, it was online.
Ah.
I just wanted to get an idea, how long do I have to wait?
So when we went to the traffic calming website and submitted, I think this was last summer. And then it was probably 6 months, we got a notice in the mail saying, we're looking at your street. And then there were I don't know what they are, the things that check speeds. They brought the speed truck thing out that took speed measurements over a week period in the number of tracks. So they measured the cars and the traffic. And then it was another couple months until I saw now you're on the schedule for the first traffic calming meeting. You meet the criteria. So I think, I don't want to speak for the city, of course, but I think in my experience, it's probably good 7, 8, and with COVID and the pandemic, time has lost all meaning in general. So I don't know exactly how long it was, but it seemed like a long time from when we filed to when we got the first notice. But we did see some stuff, and then it came down to I know some people had tried to get traffic calming 6 years ago, but the city did the measurements, and there are limits, there are requirements. You know, you have to be at least, and don't quote me on this, I thought it was something like 7 miles per hour on average over the posted speed limit to start to be considered. And then they rank and prioritize, you know, the different calming requests based on, like, we had a couple accidents on that little strip, and the average speed at one point of the bend was 35 miles an hour, which is 10 miles over the posted limit, which kind of bubbled us to the top. So I think from the time I submitted the initial one, it was last summer at some point, midsummer. So and I know other neighbors had tried it 5 or 6 years ago, and it didn't meet the criteria. And I don't know if they got a notice saying thank you for this, but you don't meet the criteria, or if it just wasn't communicated why it wasn't pursuing. I don't know what happened with that one.
Okay, thanks.
Franziska, I don't know if it would be worth it to put into the chat the Zoom meeting for the BCCI upcoming meeting, because we have 3 breakout subcommittees, one of which is our land use, and our subcommittee is it's also going to be talking about traffic calming.
Yeah, for sure. Yep,
yeah,
I can definitely do that. I know Miles is actually going to be running the meeting next week because Lanny will be out of town. So the agenda should be getting posted here shortly if it hasn't been already. But yeah, definitely the topic for discussion there is definitely traffic calming. I know that it just got discussed at City Council as well.
Yes, and a couple of people within that subcommittee did, I think, speak from the Highland NAC. And we're very active with the Traffic Commission to try and entertain the notion about changing some of that 67%, which is very hard. In some cases, there have been so many failed projects And all because, and in part, like Eric said, if you do not send your survey in, that is a no vote. And we're trying to kind of rectify some of that in a systematic way. So Bonnie, if that's something that might be of interest to you, just keep in mind that that is it next Monday? No, wait a minute.
Yeah, it's next Monday.
Can't get my days straight.
Yeah.
That yes, and that we'll be meeting starting at 6:30, but it will be later into the meeting that we have the subcommittee breakouts and the reports. Okay.
And it does seem like there, you know, there is support from. I haven't watched the city council meeting yet, but it sounds like it's certainly a topic of conversation, and a lot of people are looking at, you know, what changes need to be made to the process. So.
Yeah, I've got a timestamp on the city council testimony of where in the testimony it was to just go straight to it and get to that piece. But so Bonnie, if that is something that you're interested in, please know that there are other opportunities to educate yourself on this, and also to maybe weigh in on, you know, where exactly is the feedback that you gave to the city, and is there another way in which to do so? So, yeah.
Well, I will say that neighbors like Bonnie and Eric and everybody tirelessly working on, you know, the traffic calming testimony. That's certainly what is elevating the conversation to this point. So, so thanks for everyone putting in the time and effort to really, you know, have it be known to elected leadership what you would like to see for your community.
Right.
Hey, Eric, I have a question. You had mentioned that the open house might not happen for this project. Do you know, did you have any more information on
So
that?
I probably spoke then. So the next meeting I think is called the open house. And then after the open house, there would be another, now we're going to send cards. And we asked in the last meeting, can we combine the next two things into one to try to accelerate so we can get some traffic coming in by September and not have to wait till next spring, you know, to get a few speed bumps, because I guess city won't do asphalt work in, you know, after the rains start. It's, you know, so the hope was to try to, what's our best option for accelerating it? So I think that's what the attempt was, to try to, whatever the city process is, to combine as many steps into one as possible.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Stacy, do you have any questions? I know that doesn't affect where you live, but
Yeah, nope, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I'd love people to slow down in front of my house.
Right.
Mine's only 25 and it's not 25.
Right. Okay.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for joining us and giving us the updates on this project. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, thank you.
And good luck with the project. Really. Awesome. Okay, and so now Shannon Mason from the city is going to talk about city events. And I have had the privilege of being at the Beaverton Downtown Association, the Beaverton Arts Commission, a variety of places, venues in which she has given a presentation, and it's wonderful. So thank you so much for being here.
It's a new one, Sharon.
All right.
I'm going to try and share my screen. Hopefully I have better luck with the technology on that side of it. Okay, can you see the slideshow?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so our goals this year are to support the community through connection and safe interaction. Last year, because of COVID, we tried to pivot and do our larger signature events online as virtual events. And was only moderately successful, and we know that people are really antsy to get back out into the community, and so we wanted to offer in-person events this year. What we've decided to do is scale back, and so rather than doing the typical larger signature events like the parade and Flicks by the Fountain and picnics in the park, we've decided to do more frequent, smaller events. So every Saturday for the entire month of May, we were doing a wellness event series. And so we've had a meditative art event, Tai Chi, yoga, adaptive yoga, yoga for Spanish speakers. And we still have coming up another Tai Chi this Saturday and therapeutic horticulture next Saturday, where they will be making terrariums. And it seems like it's going to be a really cool thing. I'm excited to go. What we're doing is we're capping our events at about 50 people right now for the smaller events. We are requiring social distancing, masking, pre-registration, and we're asking that, like we ask the questions, do you have any of the symptoms and all of that stuff before we get going with the event. And it seems to be going well. So if you're interested in therapeutic horticulture or Tai Chi, you can still go to the events website and register to be a part of those. And then in June, every Saturday, we're going to be doing pop-up painting in parks around the area. And these here are the images that will be painted. And you can sign up for those online as well. Some of them are already full. This seems to be very popular. So if you are at all interested in doing any painting in the parks in June, I highly recommend that you head to the website soon and get your spot. Also in June is the Beaverton Pride Celebration, which will be happening on the 27th. Some of you may have noticed that we didn't do the typical mailer this year that has all of the summer events on it. That's because the events are small and we're actually trying to limit the amount of marketing that we do so we don't wind up with throngs of people showing up at the event and we're not able to include them. The Pride event has asked not to push marketing for their event because they are trying to keep it relatively small. You can find them on Facebook, but I don't believe they have a website for the event. In July, we are working with THPRD for the 4th of July event. We fund that. We sponsor some of the events, and I think this year they're going to be doing letters to the military and a scavenger hunt. They also have a cool concert coming up for the 4th of July, so check out the THPRD website. They have all kinds of fun events. And we are sponsoring, again, the West Side Shakespeare Festival and with the Experience Theater Project. So that'll be happening July 16th through 18th. And they're also doing registration, so you can go online to their website. And I will put all of those websites in the links into the chat when I'm done. And you can sign up for that and be a part of that too. In August, there's another Shakespeare in the Park happening, August 1st through the 3rd. And Beaverton Night Market is coming back in person. So we're very excited about that. It's very complicated. We're doing our best to figure it all out. What we're going to be doing is timed registration so that people can sign up online for the time that they want to attend the event, and then they are guaranteed to be allowed into the event during that time period. We will allow other people who just are walk-ups into the event if it isn't maxed out as far as the amount of people we're allowed to have based on whatever risk level we are at that point. We are keeping some space open for walk-ups regardless, because we do realize that not everyone has access to signing up online to attend events. And so we're trying to be inclusive about that as well. This year, the Chalk Art Festival is also happening at the same time as the Beaverton Night Market and in the same place. So we've decided to collaborate, and the Chalk Art Festival theme will be around cultures, much like the Beaverton Night Market. Some of the chalk art will actually be in the market itself, and some of it will be outside of the market. So if you're waiting to get into the market, you can go and check out the chalk art. Beaverton Welcoming Week is happening in September, as is Restaurant Week. Neither one has a whole lot of information yet online, but there will be more information forthcoming, and I do know that they are planned. So the asterisk by the Spooky Trail Walk is because we're planning to do this. We've never done it before, so we're in the early stages of it, and we're not really making it super public yet, just in case for some reason it doesn't happen, but it looks like it's going to. So tentatively, October 23rd, there will be a family-friendly trail walk working with Experienced Theater Project again, and maybe some other local theater companies to come in and have people walk the trail, but have people in character doing like tableaus or interacting with people as they walk through. Be family friendly, not scary, just fun, something to do around Halloween. And in November, we're looking at the Celebrate Beaverton project, which we're actually hoping to make a new signature event that will happen every year. This year, what we're doing is working with the library to set up 4 little free libraries in various neighborhoods around town that will mark a significant spot for Beaverton. And then the events team is going to collaborate with elected officials, prominent people within the community members that are in that area, and do recordings of little videos of why that particular spot is important to Beaverton. And there will be a QR code on the side of the little free libraries that you can click on. It'll bring up those videos along with links to more information. And there will be a website where you can just go and view all of the videos that we make. And we're hoping to just add new locations every year. And we're very optimistic that we'll be able to do the tree lighting again this year. So we are planning on doing that in person on December 3rd. It will look a little different. Of course, it'll still be limited with how many people can attend the event. Right now, the night market looks like we can probably have about 730 people a day. And so not all at the same time, but just during the span of the time that the event's happening any given day. We're thinking probably something similar for the tree lighting, but we will be working on that down the road. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I am just
Nobody.
thrilled and amazed with, given all the COVID stuff, everything that has been thrown our way, how you bob and weave to be able to create some really creative things. It's great.
Well, thank you.
And I love the paint in the park, and I love the Tai Chi and the horticulture. I mean, that's fabulous, taking into consideration the good weather and hopefully. And there was one thing I was going to ask you. I was meeting with the Economic Vitality Committee for Beaverton Downtown Association this morning, and we were talking about it's like a digital passport instead of, it costs so much money to do that printed passport. Are you familiar with other venues, other cities that have done virtual passports or digital passports that you can kind of call out as a good example?
I am not, but I'm going to look into it now.
Oh, good. I figured that I could maybe tap you for some creative thoughts out there that other people are, instead of, completely recreating the wheel. So I'll talk offline with you about that.
Okay. I did want to mention, and I kind of figured it would come up, but even though it hasn't yet, we are reviewing the latest guidelines on the no masking, but currently we're still enforcing masking at all of our events, and that is currently what the guidance still suggests for outdoor events, is that they be masked. We're waiting to hear back from OHA and OSHA to find out what their recommendations are and how we're supposed to share that with the community and how we would go about enforcing it if they decide that some people need masks and other people don't. Because this isn't all confusing enough as it is. We have to add a whole nother layer to it. But we're going to keep everybody safe. But for now, still wearing masks.
And it was a huge change all at once. So, and we're up against another holiday, which means 2 weeks out, who knows what those numbers are going to reflect.
Yeah, it's so conflicting. Like, I'm so excited that we're heading somewhere where we might not have to wear masks. And at the same time, I'm like, oh man, you just made my job even more complicated for a little while. Oh, well, we'll make it through somehow. I'll throw those links up in the chat for you. I hope to see you at events. Feel free to share them with anybody you think might be interested. And thanks for having me.
Thank you, Shannon. Okay. The last couple of pieces of the meeting, typically they are NAC Business, which are minutes and treasurer's report. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give you back part of your evening. The treasurer had a family emergency and is out of town. The secretary had a family emergency and she is not here. So we will table minutes from previous, the approval of minutes from previous meetings for now, and also the treasurer's report. Visitors comment period. So Bonnie and Stacy, having been through a meeting, a NAC meeting, any comments in general, and also any specific things that you would like to see included or addressed?
I would also just like to note that we have another guest, Eric, who I have invited into the meeting, and you're welcome to unmute and participate as well. Thanks, Eric.
All right. Eric, do you want to introduce yourself? I don't mean to put you on the spot like this, but.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Fantastic. My name's Eric Squires. I'm in the unincorporated, newly added area called Cooper Mountain. At least that's what Beaverton's calling my area. We've called that for the Cooper Mountain for a while as well. I used to chair CPO 6 for 8 years, which is the unincorporated analog of a NAC that represented Aloha, Cooper Mountain, Reedville areas. And I think it's a civic responsibility to participate and understand what's going on in your community. And that's why I jumped in. And when I have the opportunity, I like to participate in these meetings, particularly to monitor land use activities.
Excellent. And a lot of this with BCCI and NACs were predicated on land use. So I really appreciate you being here and welcome anytime.
Fantastic. Thanks for the warm welcome. I really appreciate it.
Great. And then, so Stacy and Bonnie, are there any things that you would like to share as far as ideas that you'd like to see forwarded or comments about just the meeting in general? Because we'd love to hear the feedback and incorporate that to make things as better and best as we can.
I felt it was very informative. Oh, sorry. Should I have raised my hand?
Go ahead.
I thought it was really informative. I didn't know what to expect, so it met my expectations.
Wonderful.
So I will come back again and hopefully come back again and listen and see if there's anything I want to contribute. But thank you.
Thank you. Bonnie?
Well, I've been in San Francisco, I was with the community neighborhood watch and all that stuff. So I'm learning this is a very different type of area compared to San Francisco. So I don't even know the government, how that works. So I'm here to kind of like learn how you guys play. So I can kind of like figure out what do I need to do? Because the change of the weather, the traffic, everything is very different. I mean, there used to be farms and things in the Bay Area when I was a kid, but now I get to see, eggs for sale on the side of the road and stuff like that. So that's very different. So I want to learn as much as I can before I speak.
Absolutely. I totally get that. I did the same thing of being back in the background and just kind of gathering information. I have to ask you though, were you San Francisco proper or were you down the peninsula or?
Proper.
Okay. I was down the peninsula. So I understand that difference in the cultures of both places.
Yeah, you don't have supervisors, so I'm learning about how you guys, how the government talks to each other. I'm used to a supervisor with a liaison, then we talk to the mayor, you know, so I'm used to that, so.
Well, I will tell you that there's been a change in the form of government in Beaverton just recently. It used to be a strong mayor and council, and now it has changed. And by the way, our mayor is going to be moving to the Sexton Mtn NAC.
Oh, good.
I can look out my window and practically see her.
Will you, I heard that the Beaverton website, the government website is still being still under construction. So when is that? I mean, if I look on the government website, will it tell me who does what?
Yeah, so do you mean in terms of what information specifically are you looking for?
Well, if I were to call, I know who to call if I needed something for my district. But when I was in Portland before I moved here, it's not a geographic.
Right. Yeah, they have a commissioner form of government. They're unique in that. So each of their commissioners has their own kind of fiefdom, as it were. So at the city of Beaverton, none of the city councilors have districts. They're all citywide city councilors, and then the mayor is obviously also citywide. So if there was something specific that you needed assistance with, like from a public works standpoint, then we would get you in touch with somebody from Public Works. If you wanted to talk to a city councilor, it would just be whoever you want to talk to is the city councilor. It wouldn't necessarily be a city councilor specific for a topic in the same way that it was in Portland. But as for the website, I know that they are still in talks about potentially, transitioning the website to a different kind of platform in the future. But for the moment, it's as up to date as it can be. Sure, there are definitely pages that could use a bit of a refresher, but by and large, the information that you're looking to find is on there. What I will say is that I'm always happy to be a resource. So if there, I don't at all mind, emails that are like, hey, I need to figure out who I need to talk to see if I can cut my tree or whatever the case is. I'm happy to connect you to whoever that individual is within the organization. So you're welcome to view me as your liaison of sorts, as the liaison to the NAC. I can help liaise with the rest of the city to get you in the right direction. I've been associated with the city now for over a decade. So I if I don't know, I definitely know somebody who does know. So yeah. But I can definitely appreciate coming from, the big Bay area to then Portland to then Beaverton. That's a lot of different forms of government to try to synthesize and figure out how you plug in appropriately. But at least as far as this group is concerned, I mean, Sharon and I go way back because Sharon's been around for a really long time. So she's very well versed in city operations and how things function. She used to be a planning commissioner. I don't know if she mentioned that, but yeah. So you're definitely in good company for folks to help get questions answered that you might have about what's going on or who you might need to talk to. But the link that I put in the chat about city council for looking up agendas, that's also the same link to go look at who the city councilors are, get an email address, if you're looking to communicate or correspond with the city council, or the mayor's email address is also on the website. So, but if there's something specific that you're looking for that you can't find on the website, please just send me an email and I'll help you out.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
Franziska.
And that goes the same for anybody in this meeting. I'll put my email in the chat here.
Franziska is a networking marvel. So you have come to the right place for getting connected as much as you can. And also I'll say one other thing about the counselors. Each one of them have been assigned to different boards and commissions as liaisons. So for example, for the Beaverton Arts Commission, we have a commissioner who had been on the budget committee, and Laura Mitchell has, and what they do is they alternate. I mean, they cycle through for a time period, and then we get somebody else. And so the Human Rights Commission or the Diversity Advisory Board, all of those have a dedicated city councilor who is their liaison. So that is kind of a nice added feature to kind of getting in touch with the city and what's going on. Any other questions? Because I think we're going to give you about 20 minutes of your evening back.
Thanks.
So,
Great.
well, if we are good for the evening, we are good to adjourn, if it's okay with everyone. All right. Thank you all for coming.